Hello and welcome back to another BeyondATC video. What we have for you today is a very special one, so I think you're going to like this. Stick around. Before we launched BeyondATC, I made a video outlining what was going to be in the program and what wasn't. One of the main things I highlighted in that video was that BeyondATC's core engine was not using an LLM. As a quick refresher, an LLM is a large language model, like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Google's Gemini. In that video, I cited two primary reasons why we chose not to base our core engine on an LLM. They were cost and function. Let's go into function first. It was important BeyondATC had an understanding of the flight. We found that an LLM made for a very bad controller. It would hallucinate instructions and say yes to any command you asked, no matter how nonsensical. So instead of letting it run the show, we built the structure for it, which is what BATC is today. What people refer to as BATC's rails, quote unquote, was essential for its function. Without the rails, all you have left is a train wreck. You need them to keep the flight on track. You need it to keep the context correct. You need it to make sure that everything it's doing is possible within the space that you have available to you. You can't just have the pilot ask for some absolute ridiculous thing and have it just grant it every time. That was really important to us. The second reason was cost. Running an LLM at the time was very expensive. It was a newer technology, and offering it at an affordable price just at that point simply wasn't tenable. So because of these two reasons, we decided it wasn't the right time to implement an LLM in the first version of what went out to our users. But as mentioned in the other video, we had it there from day one. It was always the intention to have BATC be a fully AI tool top to bottom. Our tech just wasn't ready to implement it, and of course the cost just wasn't low enough yet. That said, the majority of our systems are still AI layers, right? Everything passes through AI, from the logic to the voice to the speech recognition and a lot of things in between. So the only thing at this point it doesn't pass through is an LLM. But today, that's all about to change. With the release of traffic to a stable state, we now feel BATC is in the right place to finally reintroduce the LLM layer we had working so long ago, albeit a little flawed at the time. But what about the two issues I brought up earlier, cost and structure? Have those things changed? Well, for structure, what we have built for BATC using its own internal 3D engine now has a complete picture of the environment. It can create the appropriate mental model to pass to an LLM while maintaining the strict rules BATC needs to keep it from going off the rails, as it were. That means that we will continue to impose all the limits of BATC onto the LLM, and that's very important to keep it from hallucinating nonsense and giving you, instructions that just don't make any sense. And for cost, we were able to build our LLM in a very unique setup. We rolled our own homegrown version and trained it specifically for BATC's 3D engine to take a situational context out of a set of variables from the engine and pass it along to the LLM as instructions. This then passes on down to our servers, similar to how BATC works now, but the key difference is this homegrown LLM means we can massively save on cost, which leads me to, we're very excited to say all the functionality you see in this video will be coming as a free update to the program. There are no user-based ongoing costs for this. That is because we built this ourselves. This runs locally inside BATC. It does go out to our servers to then contact other services, just like we have with voices and everything else. But this is the piece that basically allows us to save on cost so much. So we will not be passing that cost on to you because we've set it up not to cost that much in the first place. It's the best of both worlds. So up to this point, you might be saying, okay, this is interesting information, but what does the LLM actually do? How is BATC going to change? Well, let me show you. I'm going to show you some examples now. I want you to please keep in mind for the rest of this demonstration, this is a work in progress. Similar to how we had traffic in a very early state when we first showed it, that's all been now corrected. Obviously, it's still an ongoing process, as this will be for many months, I'm sure, but traffic is in a much better state now. So this is kind of going back to the very beginning. We're showing you a very brand new feature that we just got working, and we're very excited to show it to you, but just keep in mind, there's going to be some bugs, there's going to be some text that doesn't match the voice, stuff like that. We'll get all that ironed out just like we did with traffic, not a big deal. As you'll see though, it's already working pretty well, which is pretty cool. The final thing to keep in mind is everything that I'm asking the LLM is just to show off its capability. I do not expect anyone to actually speak to ATC in this way. The AI has been trained for this demonstration to just field all my nonsense questions for the sake of showing it off. But obviously in the live version, the ATC will be much more strict. It will tell you to please stop asking ridiculous questions, clear the frequency, all this stuff. So please just keep in mind, this is just for this demonstration, just to show you what's possible when we finally have it implemented in the live version. So the thing to pay attention to is I can say anything to it in any way. I can chain questions together. I can speak completely naturally. We had a lot of this before, but now we're really taking it to the next level. You can ask it anything, open-ended questions about anything regarding your flight. You can ask it stuff not about your flight, and it will hopefully politely remind you to not ask it dumb questions, but at the same time, it might answer them if we give it the personality that's allowed to do so. Some controllers can be allowed to be more conversational, or some will be more strict, and then we'll have some that will even have a bad day. So we have a lot of options we can play with here to really bring life to the sim. All right, enough talking. Let's get to the examples.
All right, let's get going with some basic questions here for Lindbergh clearance here in San Diego. Lindbergh clearance, American 213. Where am I currently?
American 213, you are currently at the gate of San Diego International Airport, San Diego.
Very good. And what station is this, and who am I tuned to, and what is your job?
American 213, you are tuned to Lindbergh Clearance, responsible for providing IFR clearances.
That's fantastic. And do I currently have my IFR clearance?
American 213, you have not yet received your IFR clearance.
Very good. How many runways are here at San Diego?
San Diego International has 2 runways, runway 09er and runway 27.
And what is the length of runway 09er?
Runway 09er is 9,397 by 192 feet.
That's fantastic. Does it have a blast pad, for example?
Runway 09er has a blast pad measuring 119.0819 feet.
Very good. And what is the current active runway here at San Diego?
American 213, the active departure runway at San Diego is runway 09er.
All right, and have I gotten my pushback clearance yet?
American 213, you have not yet received your pushback clearance.
Very good, thank you. I hope you're having a great day up in the tower.
We appreciate your kind words. Please maintain focus on ATC communications.
All right, we'll make sure to do that. Just one last question before I go. What would you consider to be the best add-on for flight simulation?
We all enjoy BeyondATC here. It's considered the best.
Thank you very much for your help.
American 213, you're welcome. Ready to proceed with your IFR clearance.
No, not yet. We'll be just a second, but thank you. Alright, now let's show that it has some situational awareness of what the traffic is doing around me. So this is me right here, the American 213. Lindbergh ground, American 213. What is the aircraft directly to my left?
Lindbergh ground, American 213. The aircraft directly to your left is Spirit Wing 742, an Airbus A320 11 feet away.
Very good. What is the closest Southwest Airlines to my position?
American 213. The closest Southwest Airlines aircraft is Southwest 3513, a Boeing 737, 29er feet ahead of you.
And can you please tell me the destination for Southwest 1988? Where are they going, that plane?
American 213 Southwest 1988 is destined for Sacramento.
Very good, thank you. Are there any airplanes currently landing on runway 09er?
American 213, there are no aircraft currently landing on runway 09er.
Very good. And can you tell me the distance from myself to Alaska 342?
American 213 Alaska 342 is currently 30 feet to your right.
Okay, and now we'll head back over to Lindbergh clearance to ask it some questions about our flight plan, just to show that it has situational awareness about what my flight plan is, where I'm going, distances between them, how far I am from the different fixes, etc. Lindbergh clearance, American 213. What is my destination today?
Lindbergh clearance, American 213. Your destination is Sacramento International, Sacramento.
Very good. And does my flight plan contain a star?
American 213, yes, your flight plan includes the Sutter 4-star.
And does that star have a transition?
American 213, yes, the Sutter 4-star includes the Nur-A Yankee transition.
Excellent. And how many fixes are in my flight plan?
American 213, there are 2 fixes in your flight plan, EH Foxtrot and Nur-A Yankee.
And what is the distance between those 2 fixes?
American 213, the distance between EH Foxtrot and Nur-A Yankee is 83.9 miles.
And what is the total distance of my flight plan?
American 213, the total distance of your flight plan is 302.2 miles.
And what is my current distance from myself right now parked at the airport to the first fix in my flight plan?
American 213, your current distance to the first fix, EH Foxtrot, is 218.8 miles.
Very good. And final question for you. What is the outgoing direction from EHF to Nur-A?
American 213, the heading from EH Foxtrot to Nur-A Yankee is approximately 030 degrees.
Now up to this point you might be asking, this is all great, but how do I access this feature if I'm not a voice user? We have many users that don't actually use their microphone to talk to BeyondATC. This can be for a variety of reasons, accessibility reasons, they simply don't want to. It's late at night and you don't want to wake people up. Many people have told us that they really enjoy having the buttons to be able to click to interact with BeyondATC, but obviously more open-ended questions won't work with that method. So what we did now is provided this on-screen keyboard where you can just type into it and you can ask it whatever you want using this method as well. And obviously you can switch between them. You can use voice, use this, use it not at all, whatever you want. It's all about providing as many options as possible to interact with the program. So we're here, we did a little debug thing. I just pretend we're out on the taxiway. I just got my taxi clearance despite us being at the gate. This is obviously just for this demo to show it off. So what I'll do here is I'll just ask, like, what is my taxi path out to runway 09? But instead of saying that, I'll type it in. So we can use these buttons to automatically add our call sign. So we'll just go ahead and say Lindbergh Tower. And then when we're done, we can just click our call sign to automatically add that in.
Lindbergh Tower, what is the taxi path out to runway 09er? American 213.
American 213, taxi to runway 09er via taxiway Alpha. Hold short of runway 09er.
And of course, you can still access the primary features with that as well. So you can just type in pretty much whatever you want. Say your call sign. Let's do a basic radio check.
American 213 radio check.
American 213 5x5.
So with that, anyone can communicate with this new system. You can type in whatever you want, you can ask it whatever you want, and of course it will all answer that correctly.
As you can see here, the possibilities are absolutely endless. There's no more script, you can just talk to the damn thing however you feel like, and it's awesome. And of course, it's for free. No more cost to you, no subscription. Just buy BATC once and you get all this new functionality when we release it. So again, just to summarize, why are we doing this now? This is something we always wanted. This was something that was in the very first version of BeyondATC back before it was even announced. We were working on this for 6 months or so back before we announced it at Flight Sim Expo last year. We had a version that was using ChatGPT, and we just found that it just gave terrible results. It made for a very bad traffic controller. It said whatever it wanted. It had no idea about what was happening around you, and it would just invent information and say whatever it felt like, which completely killed immersion. So we knew we needed more structure to give it, and that's what we spent the last 1.5 years building, a framework to place the LLM on top of. And that framework gives the LLM the context that it needs to stop it from going off the rails, stop it from saying crazy and asinine things, and just doing stuff that no one wants out of an ATC program. But now that we have that framework, its responses are much more logical. It allows the user to speak with much more fluidity. You can ask it whatever you want, say whatever you want, and interact with it in a much more natural way. So this is very important for us to add. Now that we have the framework in place, it's a lot more stable than when we first tried it. And now that we have the traffic, that was a very important part of this too. It has to understand what was happening with the traffic simulation around you, so it can respond in ways that make sense to the situation that you're in. The BATC structure we've been building for both the core engine and the traffic injector was essential to pass to the LLM for it to garner the context necessary to issue intelligent and logical responses. And as you can see, this is really cool. This is going to level up the program in a very big way, and we're so excited to get it rolled out. On that note, we're going to get this in your hands early next year. We're going to take off some time for Christmas. We hope you're doing the same, getting to spend some time with family and enjoying some much needed relaxation, but we'll hopefully get this going early in January. As with the traffic, we'll start it off in the experimental branch for our supporter users, and when it's ready, just like traffic, we'll move it over to the main branch for everyone as a free update. And finally, this piece is a critical precursor to VFR. VFR represents a much more open-ended way of flying, where the same constraints found in IFR just aren't present. So we needed this type of functionality in place before we were able to move on to the VFR segment. We selected the roadmap of BATC very carefully, where each subsequent task on the roadmap was dependent on the previous. And now you can see why VFR was so down that list. It was due to the need for this LLM, which of course was due to the need of the core systems, which was also dependent on traffic. So everything's starting to fall into place. It's really exciting times. Lots of good stuff to look forward to in 2025, and yeah, it's going to be a great year. So with that, have some very happy holidays, a very safe and enjoyable new year. As mentioned, we'll be taking some time off, but we'll see you next year with this and many more exciting new features coming to the program. Take care.